Imagine a moment so charged, it shakes the very notion of how we stay connected. A moment when a towering rocket roars into the night sky, releasing dozens of high-tech machines that promise to blanket the planet with internet. That moment happened today. What exactly launched? Why does it matter more than just another rocket in the air? And how could you be impacted by this mission in ways you never expected? Tonight at Cape Canaveral, SpaceX launched their veteran Falcon 9, carrying 29 Starlink satellites. Yes, 29 new pieces of hardware, as part of a relentless push to connect the world. This launch marked yet another milestone in a record-breaking year for Florida's Space Coast and pushed Starlink's mission even closer to global saturation. Over the next few minutes, we'll break down the liftoff, expose the tech packed into those satellites, and reveal what's really at play when you think about unlimited internet, global coverage, and the space race heating up. By the end, you'll see why this launch isn't just cool footage, it's a game changer. Stick around. What happened in the next 9 minutes could ripple through your life, your connection, and the sky above you. You might think this was just another SpaceX launch, another rocket, another payload. But what happened today wasn't routine. It was electric. Today's launch didn't just mark another Starlink mission. It marked the 100th launch from Florida's Space Coast this year alone. Let that sink in. A full century of rockets in a single year, a feat unimaginable just a decade ago. And who's leading that charge? SpaceX, Elon Musk's ever-growing juggernaut that's making launches feel as common as rush-hour traffic. But don't let the frequency fool you. Each mission is packed with pressure, with scrutiny, with risk, and with billions, yes, billions, of dollars in potential impact riding on success. This Falcon 9 was loaded with 29 new Starlink 5.2 satellites, the latest version of SpaceX's broadband beaming beasts. These aren't just hunks of metal. These are mini marvels of engineering, equipped with high-powered lasers, antenna arrays, and ion thrusters. They're designed to beam internet down to the most remote corners of Earth, from dense urban jungles to the Arctic tundra, and everywhere in between. And here's the kicker. This mission also showcased a first-stage booster on its 9th flight. That's right. The same hardware has already danced through space and back 8 times before. Each reuse is a middle finger to the old-school disposable approach of space travel. It's bold. It's risky. It's classic Musk. While most companies would be celebrating a single clean launch, SpaceX is doing this almost every week, sometimes multiple times a week. They're turning what once took years of planning into an almost routine ballet of fire and precision. But the stakes? They keep climbing. Because with every successful Starlink deployment, SpaceX moves closer to its controversial dream. Total global internet coverage. Admirable to some, terrifying to others. Governments are watching. Telecom giants are sweating. Astronomers are fuming. And Elon? He's just tweeting memes while quietly redefining the rules of the game. This isn't just engineering, it's a high-stakes spectacle. And you're watching it unfold in real time. With every launch, SpaceX isn't just sending satellites, they're firing warning shots to an entire industry. This is domination by propulsion, and there's no sign of slowing down. The clock hit 0. The engines screamed. And the Falcon 9 rose from Launch Complex 40 like a fist, punching through the night sky. There's no sight quite like it, a blinding torch of fire, thunder shaking the coastline, and 29 satellites tucked tightly into the nose cone. This wasn't the Falcon 9's first rodeo, far from it. This booster, B-1090, had already flown 8 times before. Today was its 9th flight. Think about that. SpaceX isn't just launching rockets anymore. They're landing them, refurbishing them, and launching them again, like it's just another Tuesday. At exactly T+112, the rocket hit max Q, the moment of peak mechanical stress, when the atmosphere fights back hardest. But the Falcon didn't flinch. At T+224, the main engines cut off. Just seconds later, the first and second stages separated, and the upper stage's Merlin vacuum engine ignited, pushing the satellites higher and faster into low Earth orbit. Meanwhile, the first stage was already flipping itself around, falling back through the atmosphere at over 3,000 kilometers per hour. Flames burst from its engines for the entry burn at T plus 6 minutes and 9 seconds, slowing it down enough to survive the descent. Then, at T plus 7:59, the landing burn. Everyone held their breath, and then, touchdown. The booster nailed its 9th landing on the autonomous drone ship, a short fall of gravitas, stationed in the Atlantic. Let's pause there. That alone is insane. A rocket, reused 9 times, landing itself on a moving ship, hundreds of miles out to sea. That's not just innovation. That's science fiction brought to life. Back in orbit, the second stage was coasting, silent, deadly, and precise. At T plus 839, its engine cut off after delivering the payload to a parking orbit. But the mission wasn't over. 45 minutes later, it reignited for just 1 second to circularize the orbit. A blink, but absolutely critical. Then, at exactly T plus 10500, the payload doors opened. The 29 Starlink Vive 2 satellites were gently released into space, beginning their solo journey to spread internet across the globe. From liftoff to deployment, flawless. But this was more than flawless. It was calculated, choreographed, like a space opera playing out in real time, watched by millions, powered by vision and hardware built to defy limits. All right, let's talk impact, because this isn't just about rockets and satellites. This is about power, data, control, and a revolution in how the world connects. With over 9,000 satellites already in orbit, Starlink has become the largest satellite constellation in human history. That's not hyperbole. That's fact. And today's 29 new additions, they're not just replacements. They're upgrades. Version 2 satellites are equipped with more powerful antennas, better lasers for inter-satellite communication, and improved coverage capability. But why does it matter? Because traditional internet infrastructure doesn't reach everyone. Billions of people live in areas where cables don't go, where cell towers fail, where storms knock everything offline. That's where Starlink steps in, offering high-speed, low-latency internet beamed directly from orbit. Think of remote villages in the Amazon, mountain towns, isolated islands, disaster zones, even airplanes and ships mid-ocean. Suddenly they're online, instantly. And let's be real. This kind of access, it's not just convenience, it's empowerment, education, emergency response, commerce, healthcare, all transformed by a constellation of orbiting routers in the sky. But here's the twist. It also gives SpaceX, and by extension, Elon Musk, unprecedented influence. He's not just building a network, he's building the backbone of the next global internet layer. One that bypasses governments, one that challenges telecom monopolies, one that could potentially be throttled, redirected, or even shut off with a single directive from SpaceX HQ. It's thrilling, it's terrifying, and it's happening. There's also Starlink's new direct-to-cell service. No dishes, no terminals, just your regular phone connected directly to the satellites. Text, calls, data, anywhere. The implications are huge. Phone companies are either going to adapt or get steamrolled. And yes, there are critics. Astronomers argue the bright satellites ruin telescope data. Environmentalists worry about orbital debris. Governments fear private companies controlling global comms. But Musk? He's racing forward. And there's another layer. Military use. Quietly, Starlink satellites are being tested and adapted for encrypted communications for defense operations. Think Ukraine. Think conflict zones. When traditional infrastructure collapses, Starlink stays online. That's not just tech support. That's tactical advantage. That's battlefield dominance delivered from orbit. The satellites launched today aren't just connecting people. They're shaping politics, economies, and how the next decade of war, peace, and progress will unfold. Here's where things get complicated. Because with every Starlink launch, SpaceX isn't just building infrastructure, it's building power. Invisible, silent, sky-dominating power. And the question everyone's whispering but no one wants to say out loud, what happens when one man controls the most powerful satellite network in human history? Musk can beam internet to war zones. He can disrupt communications in blackout areas. He can cut access or boost it. He could, in theory, shut down internet access to entire nations. With one command, governments are scrambling to catch up. Regulators are raising red flags. European agencies are demanding oversight. China and Russia are building rival constellations because they see it too. Whoever controls space controls the signal, and whoever controls the signal controls the story. Astronomers call it light pollution. Diplomats call it a geopolitical risk. Elon Musk? He calls it progress, and he's not waiting for permission. Today's 29 satellites, they aren't just boosting your Netflix speed. They're chess pieces in a global game. One where the stakes aren't just about bandwidth, they're about power, autonomy, and who gets to define the digital future of Earth. And the sky? It's not the limit. It's the battlefield. So now you know. This wasn't just a rocket launch. It was a declaration, a show of force, a technological flex that signals the future isn't coming. It's already here, and it's riding on the back of a Falcon 9. 29 satellites. One night. A sky forever changed. And if you think this ends here, think again. More launches, more drama, more game-changing tech is on the horizon. If you want to stay ahead of the story, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because in the world of space, what's up next is everything.